Welcome to Reaching Wonderland, where my goal is to help you get to your goal below 199 on the scale and then stay there. I'm Coach Michelle, and not only am I a certified health coach, nutrition coach, and personal trainer, but I've also lost 100 pounds 3 different times and was on my very first diet at the age of 9. Which does all kinds of messing up with a little kid's mind. So let's talk about the biggest question I've gotten this week, which is what the heck are macros? I've been doing a lot of talking about macros lately simply because that is the nutritional framework that I use. And I use it because um, it makes my weight maintenance now easier. And as I was losing weight, I was starving all the time. I had all of these huge cravings, and it was just really difficult for me to find balance. Enter macros, wishing I would have found them a heck of a lot earlier, let me tell you. Macros are just a different way to track food. You still have a calorie allotment because, weight loss, in order to lose weight, you have to eat less than you burn. That is common knowledge. In order to maintain your weight, you have to eat in the vicinity of what you burn, some days a little more, some days a little less, also that it balances out over time. So with macros, it makes it very easy. But what are macros? Macros stand for macronutrients, which are the big nutrients that our bodies need in order to survive, in order to have energy, in order to feel full. These are the things that we need. And what they are is fats, carbs, and protein. Now, I have said a bazillion times, carbs are not the devil. I do get most of 99% of my carbs from fruits and vegetables because you may not realize this, but carbs equal fruits and vegetables. It's not just bread and dairy bread and sweets and stuff like that. Sugar is a carb. It is a carb that we want to limit, but fruits and vegetables are also carbs. So let's talk about this a little bit. Told you they're fats, carbs, and proteins. But what do each of those do in the body? Fats actually help you balance your hormones, both the female kind and the hunger kind. So we have to have fats in our body in order to be healthy. Now, I am a 70s child. I admit it, tell you guys all the time. I'm 50 years old, and I started this weight loss journey at 42. When people say, you can't lose weight after 40. Yeah, I lost 126 pounds after 40, and I've been maintaining it. So you can lose weight after 40. You can maintain your weight loss at 50. It is totally possible, but your body still needs fats. Those fats keep everything in line and keep you from being overly emotional for those female hormones. They help you produce estrogen and all that. So we have to have those. And in the 70s, guess what? They said, no, everything had to be low fat and no fat and all of that. I still do eat some no fat foods, but I balance it out with things like nuts and olive oil and coconut oil so that my fat level is high enough to keep those other hormones balanced out. Now, carbs. Carbs are the body's natural fuel. If you are feeling drugged down and worn out on your weight loss journey and you just feel like, bleh, it may be that you're not getting enough carbs. You should still have plenty of energy to do everything daily if you are eating enough carbs and you aren't cutting your calories so low that your body is burned out. Weight loss should not be a sprint. It should be a marathon. So I do not recommend losing more than 1 to 2 pounds a week, because at 2 pounds a week, you are having to cut your calories down by 1,000 calories a day. So let us step back and look at this and see, what about protein? Protein keeps you from losing muscle. Okay, so after 30, you start losing muscle every single year. Up until 30, you're adding muscle. After 30, you're losing muscle. Why is this important? This is so important. It actually has a medical name for it. It's called sarcopenia. And when you lose muscle, you also lose bone, which leads to osteoporosis. Now, some of you may have heard that my mother had osteoporosis so bad, she broke her ribs while moving clothes from a top load washer to a front load dryer twice or 3 times, 2 or 3 times. So when I started my journey, one of my goals was to make sure that I continue to have healthy bone, because I did not want to do that. I did not want to fear falling down. I wanted to be able to go up and down stairs. I wanted to be able to, unfortunately, move clothes from a washer to the dryer. All of those things are part of quality of life as you age, and not being able to do them because you didn't eat enough protein, because you didn't know you needed the protein, is just horrible. My mother was very much lived on bread and crackers and bags of Tootsie Rolls and all that kind of good stuff. So we really have to include that protein in our diet in order to keep that muscle that we have. Now, I weightlift daily. I do not look like some, some monster guy, but I weightlift so that I keep that muscle, and I make sure I eat enough protein so that I don't lose that, because the last thing I want to do is break my ribs moving clothes from the washer to the dryer. Now, the other thing about macros that I absolutely love is the fact that everybody has a different body type, and different body types require different macro setups in order to lose weight. So by knowing how to manipulate macros, it allows you to figure out, okay, maybe my body requires just a little higher carbs in order to lose 2 pounds a week. Maybe my body requires a little more protein in order to lose 2 pounds a week. In the grand scheme of things, it's figuring out what works for your body and how you can lose weight consistently over time. Yes, there are all kinds of things in our heads that we have to work on too. And yes, we have to create habits to make it easier. But one of the habits I've developed over time is using macros to maintain and lose weight. And that is the reason why I think that one of the reasons I think they're so important as a nutritional framework. The other thing I really like about the proper way to calculate macros is they take into consideration movement or lack of movement when you design your macro setup. So I always say macros done right make it easier to lose weight and maintain your weight loss. And I say this because you learn about what your body needs in order to lose weight. Now, part of that process is also figuring out what your mind needs in order to stay on track. And the macros, another name for macros, are flexible dieting. Now, some people take this way too far to the extreme, but knowing your macros gives you the flexibility. If you can get out of the circle of hate, of kicking yourself constantly every time you go off track, macros give you the flexibility to compensate when you have those moments that, may not be exactly what you had planned. So it allows you to bounce back and go right back into your cycle and stay on track. So that is a grand overview of macros. Macros are just a different way to track food, and they're looking at the macronutrients that you eat on a daily basis, including fat, carbs, and protein. I cannot stress enough that protein helps us keep muscle, and muscle actually burns higher numbers of calories than fat does. So we want muscle. Muscle helps us lose weight. Muscle helps us maintain weight. Muscle helps us not get osteoporosis. Muscle is the bomb, and we should all have it. Um, Carbs are your fuel, and they keep you feeling like you have energy to burn. Carbs are stored in your muscles and give your muscles the energy to do what they need to do. And then finally, fat balances out, our lovely female hormones and our hunger hormones, because it's very hard to lose weight when you're really, really hungry. And one of the reasons that we get so hungry is that we aren't eating in balance. And the balance actually helps not only cure that hunger, but it also helps cure some of those cravings. So that is my grand overview of what macros are. You can find this podcast on iTunes called Reaching Wonderland. And I would love it if you would go there and give us a review of what you think. And you know what? If you go there and you ask questions, I use those as information to build out these podcasts, because I want to help you where you are. All right, ladies, I am going to send you off with love and hugs and the reminder that you can do anything for 5 minutes. It's those small, consistent steps that you take every day that help get you to your goal. Have an amazing day.